script? Was that a script?
Just notes. Usually, you know, when you go last, it's usually pretty tough. Are you shitting me? This might be the easiest thing I've ever done. Now, I would ask this, though. I did take some notes. And before I talk about my team, can everybody hear me?
We can't hear you.
All right. Can y'all hear me?
No.
Really?
No, seriously.
Seriously. There's closer seats. I did take some notes, but there's no lights, and I'm 70 years old. So if somebody turn the light on. I work better in the dark now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Can I do this the whole time?
It's like your last 5 days. Sure, it's better in the dark.
I want to just want to make a couple of comments just based on what my colleagues talked about. First of all, when you get older, and I just turned 70, which is obviously a mere drop in the bucket to Lou. Lou's so old his birth certificate expired. I remember when I first met him, he told me he was from Leavenworth, Kansas. And so I asked him, you know, how long you been out? And I really didn't know he did that much time, but it's come a long way. I'm proud of Lou. His birthday cake almost set the restaurant we were in last night on fire. And I do have to clear this up. I've had a lot of coaches and a lot of players say this. You know, our guys, they just didn't play well today. No shit, Hawkeye, really? Your best days are behind you. Okay? Now, the fact that you played, you have my unbelievable admiration. The fact that you would risk all that you have to risk and enjoy a game that we've all grown up with and do it in a hallowed cathedral of basketball means an awful lot. But please, why would we ever talk about performance? I mean, we got enough worries about other performance, to tell you the truth, especially me. As I've gotten older, you know, people have worried. They tell you about, well, you're going to lose your sense of sight. You know, my eyesight's not as good, and your sense of hearing, I certainly don't hear as well, and sense of smell. The sense I've lost the most of is decency, and I hope I don't offend you. But I will also tell you this, and some of the things I'm going to say, I really don't give a shit. And that's one great advantage of age. I don't go to a lot of meetings. I'm blessed to still be coaching. I don't go to a lot of meetings. You know, all the meetings we're supposed to. I don't go. Everybody at Fresno figures he forgot. Okay, I park anywhere. I never get a ticket. They said he didn't know what the hell he's doing. I can put my arm around any woman. There's no sexual harassment. They think I'm falling. It's an unbelievable disguise age. And that's why I respect a lot of guys in here that are hitting that speed limit. One thing about Doug Gottlieb, he's really talented. He's great with words. He was, as I think Coach Self said last night, or maybe he didn't, or maybe it was after, I don't know when it was late. He called him a good passer. He backed it up by saying he was a horseshit shooter. But Doug's done a lot of good things, and his comments. Remember last year he came here with a chip on his shoulder. Remember I told you he was all pissed off because he came in second, you know, to the world's whitest person, to Queen Elizabeth. Remember how pissed off he was last year? And I said that, and he's just made a recent job change. And you know what I've always said about. I really respect what Dino and Fran and I, we weren't fired from ESPN, we were fired from universities in our profession. And those guys made amazing comebacks. They're still part of the game, done a great job representing basketball. Obviously Doug and Miles have gone right from playing into broadcasting, all legitimate broadcasters. I know you all enjoy them, and I think sometimes they don't get how much coaches enjoy guys that tell it the right way. So I did want to say a nice thing, even though I don't like any of them. I just turned 70. I just want to share you a couple things. I went to a party, went back to Chicago with a lot of people that I grew up with, and I was staying in a hotel, and they thought it would be cute. They sent a hooker up to my room. And I knocked on the door, and there's a beautiful young lady. And she said she was a lady of the night. And she said, I'm here for soup or sex. So I said, well, I'll take the soup. That's the first $500 bowl of soup I ever had. And don't worry too much about age. And you know, my wife, I'd really embarrass her by saying this, but actually, we made love this bad right after I turned 70 for an hour and 2 minutes one night. Since then, 62 minutes. Now, I do have to clarify, it was the night that you set the clocks forward an hour. Did the best I could, you mentioned Pete Carr. I did want to say, where's Pete? One of my favorite guys. Pete, still here? Anyway, you know, Pete's from Baldwin City. You'll remember, you know, you hear a lot about small towns. Baldwin City really had an economic downturn the last couple of years. So much so that, because I just mentioned hookers, Baldwin's 2 hookers are virgins. That's how bad the economy was in Baldwin City. And thank God Pete's happily married. He's got a wonderful wife. And, I just wanted to share one story with you. I was in Fresno the other day at a restaurant, and I was talking with a strength coach and an assistant coach. I had a California grape wine. I had a glass of wine. We kept talking, a glass of wine, kept talking. I had 4 glasses of wine. This guy came up to me sitting at the table. And he said, you know, sir, you've had 4 glasses of wine. I said, yeah, I know. He said, well, you know, it can help destroy your teeth. It's going to affect your liver. It could affect the longevity of your life. I said, really? I said, you know, my grandfather lived to be 107 years old. The guy looked at me and said, well, what did he do? Did he drink 4 glasses of wine a day? I said, no, he minded his own fucking business. I do want to tie in, it's a famous story, I do want to tie it into the camp. Some of you may have heard it. If you did, bear with me. The Lone Ranger was captured by an Indian war party. And he was brought before the chief. And the chief said, so you're the great Lone Ranger? He said, and we finally have captured you. And in 3 days at the Feast of the Harvest Moon, we're going to kill you. But out of respect to what you've done in the West, we're going to give you 3 wishes. And now you're going to make your first wish. What is it? So the Lone Ranger looked at him and said, oh, well, I want to talk to my horse. So they go get Silver. They bring Silver over. Lone Ranger whispers in his ear. Silver takes off out of the camp, over the hill, off into the horizon. Comes back in the middle of the night, got a beautiful blonde riding. Blonde gets off, goes in the Lone Ranger's tent. Chief's looking. In the morning, the blonde gets out, leaves. He calls the Lone Ranger out. He said, you really got a great horse. Got a smart horse. He said, we're still going to kill you in 2 days. He said, what's your second one? He said, I like to talk to my horse. Well, Silver comes over, whispers in Silver's ear. Silver takes off the same way, sprints out of camp, over the mountain, into the horizon. Comes back in a couple hours with an even better looking brunette. Brunette gets off, goes in the Lone Ranger's tent. That morning comes out, and Chief looks at him and said, you know, you're a special man. You have a lot of talents, but you're still going to die tomorrow. So what's your third wish? So the Lone Ranger says, well, I'd like to talk to my horse, but I want to talk to my horse alone. So the Chief says, fine. So the Lone Ranger takes Silver, and they walk into the teepee. And the Lone Ranger looks at him, and he grabs Silver's ears, and he goes, bring posse. I said, bring posse. What the hell's that got to do with pro camp? We got five other coaches here, 6 including myself. And literally in every other huddle today, in timeouts, quarter breaks, we were grabbing guys' ears and just going, will you freaking listen? Please listen. Please slow down. And what's unbelievable is what will happen in terms of communication. And I was asked to say this, and before I introduce my team, some of you have heard it. We have a lot of new campers, but a guy who I love dearly in this camp asked me to say this. You're faced with many tests in life. Okay, I had an incredible test when I was young. I was married very young. I was 18 years old. I've been remarried 31 years. I've had 2 lives. Unbelievable. God's been unbelievable to me. But I got married when I was 18. And she was 18. Her family moved here from Italy. Very strict Italian family. Her father was obviously the size of these 2 guys here. And I was a 6'5" Irishman. And my ex-wife had a 19-year-old sister, one of the 3 most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. An incredible looking young lady. I'm getting married on a Saturday. She calls me on Wednesday. She lived in a townhouse outside Chicago. She said, we're having a real problem with the wedding. We're having a real problem with the seating. There's nothing but controversy. Everybody's upset. I need you to come over. So I came over. And she was dressed in a halter top, short shorts. She looked incredible. I don't know what the perfume was, but it was a knockoff. And I said, well, what's the problem? She goes, there's no problem. But I've always been attracted to you. And before Saturday comes and you marry my sister, I just want one opportunity to share something special with you. I said, what? Excuse me? She said, no, it's meant to be. There's a chemistry. And she started to walk up the stairs because the bedroom was upstairs. And as she walked up the stairs, I made a break for the door. I opened the door and I ran outside, and the first person I ran into was her father, my fiance's father also. And he grabbed me and hugged me. Her grandmother was out there, her mother was out there, she had aunts out there. And he grabbed me and he was screaming at the top of the voice, you passed the test, you passed the test. And you know what the moral of the story is? Always leave your condoms in the glove box.